But then I've got the RAM, and it's confusing because it's 16 GB, and the GB is the same as the storage, and I don't know what I'm doing with this, so what is RAM? Hi everyone, it's Tom here from Hardsoft. I'm excited to be joined today by my colleague Gav here. How are you, Gav?
Very well, thanks Tom, good.
Not too bad, not too bad. What do you do here at Hardsoft, Gav?
I'm a solutions engineer, and I guess you could say my job is helping customers with direction and making sure they enroll their devices correctly.
Nice. So you'd say you're pretty much a technical expert. You know most of what you're doing.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah,
not too
maybe.
bad.
Yep. Sounds about right.
More than me? You going to take over Tom's Tech Tips?
Never.
Okay, so I'm on the beautiful Hardsoft website. I'm looking at the MacBooks.
Yep.
I want a brand new MacBook Pro, and I'm good with storage. Like that's not hard. Like I know how much storage I need. But then I've got the RAM after that as well, and it's confusing because it's 16 GB, and the GB is the same as the storage, and like I don't know what I'm doing with this. So, Gav, what is RAM?
So I know you brought up your extended storage. So RAM is effectively the part of the computer that allows you to juggle more balls. So if you was, as an example, if you had 8 gig of RAM, effectively you can juggle 8 balls at one time. As you could imagine, if you then add more RAM or get an extended size of RAM, it enables you effectively to juggle more balls during your day-to-day working.
So I get what RAM is. Yep. I get what it does. Great explanation. But why is it so important that I get the decision right now?
I think choosing the right RAM is essential for your long-term use. So you're obviously, Tom 2023 might have a specific layer of using his device, which may change for Tom in 2024. So it's essential to get it right.
So why can I not just... can I just add more later?
No.
I can't add more later?
No.
So where I've, say, got an extra storage drive, or if I've run out of space or something, I've been able to kind of plug things in and add it on in the past, but for RAM, that's not an option.
Exactly that.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it a lot more serious, because if you get the decision wrong, then you might be in trouble.
Exactly. It's always good to get it right from the start.
Damn. Okay. Jeez. So I've got to consider, it's almost like anticipating the future usage. What is 2024 Tom going to do? Am I suddenly going to do... Well, I was going to say video editing, but hi. It's already going on. But yeah, if I suddenly boost the amount of RAM I'm going to need, if I pick up a new hobby, if I do some crazy gaming or something, I am going to be in trouble.
Exactly.
So I've got to get it right now. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. So it sounds like you're saying that if I make this decision and get it wrong, I could be stuck with an expensive laptop that doesn't really do what I want.
So as you've gone down the Hardsoft website route, which is a 3-year term, after 18 months, if you feel like you've made the wrong decision or got a machine that's too powerful or not powerful enough, you can then make the change to the correct device which you feel be more suited. So
that's the flexi option on the Hardsoft website, right?
Yep.
So I've got a little bit of a safety net. If something goes wrong, I don't have to be stuck with a big expensive mistake.
Exactly that, yeah.
Perfect. So I've looked on the Apple website, and the RAM itself is quite expensive if I want to add some more on. So going from like 16 gigabytes to 32 gigabytes on a MacBook Pro is going to cost me £400 just to start with.
Yep.
So it's an expensive, risky decision as well. What do you recommend I do on that kind of thing?
Obviously, narrowing it down, if you was to use the Hardsoft Flexi lease option, you're looking at like a coffee a week, so it doesn't really... It's not that huge amount in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, so it's like, so I can make it a lot more manageable money-wise, and also kind of get the peace of mind of knowing I'll be all right. Because it's like, I think I have a concern of if I go too far over what I need, then I'm stuck with that, and I've paid more for it as well. So it's like, because I am managing it on a weekly basis money-wise, instead of plonking 400 quid up front.
Exactly.
And because I've got that safety net with the change option, I feel like I can only really get it through Hardsoft if I want to be confident.
That's the way, yep.
Okay, so let's think about this in a more real-life scenario then. So let's say my mate Dave, he uses his Mac for work stuff, emails, Teams, social media. Pretty casual, very, very casual.
Casual use, yeah.
What does he need to know about RAM?
I think Dave you'd class as like your standard sort of unique user. So just your standard emailing, a couple of Google tabs, things like that, just your basic use. I think you'd easily get away with an 8 gig of RAM as a starting point.
So in terms of kind of multitasking, just kind of basic, moving between browsers and emails and stuff like that. If you've got lots of tabs open, that's where it's going to make a difference with it. So 8 gig you think would be fine.
To start
don't need to kind of really go too far over.
That's it.
Save some money.
Exactly.
Can't go wrong.
Perfect.
Okay, so Dave, he's got a new job. He's starting to become a bit of a casual creative. He's using Photoshop, Final Cut, Premiere Pro. He's making all kinds of family videos and things. He's getting into it a bit. This is surely where it's got to go up, right?
100%. So obviously your 8 gig is your go-to. bog standard user. If you're going to go up a level, you're looking at creative users using specific packages that require a bit more RAM. I'd always advise going up to maybe 16 gig as a start.
Okay. And then, I mean, the jump from 60 gig to 32 gig, I mean, that's kind of where Dave has to get really heavy on the usage, right? We're talking super high quality video.
Yeah, I think that's when you're getting into your big creative kind of studios and your users. So that's when you're looking at easily 32 gig of RAM just to start with.
And I think in that kind of situation, you know, those kind of people, they use specific apps for those specific things. They know, really.
I'd like to think that when you jump up to that kind of user, they're going to know what they need, so they're going to tell you effectively what they're going to need in regards to RAM.
Yeah. So if you need 96 gig of RAM, you might want to ask your boss.
We're
probably not going to be able to advise it too on that. But no, that makes a lot of sense. So kind of thinking of it as that 16 gig, I think sounds like a really safe point to be on, because also that's with the 16-inch MacBook Pros, that's where it starts as well. And then moving up from there and kind of covering yourself off a bit. I feel so much more confident about making this decision now, Gav. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
So I'm thinking about future Tom. So instead of trying to save a few pennies now, I know I'm going to need it in the future. So I'm going to make that decision based on what future Tom is going to need. Perfect. And with that hard soft safety net as well, I do feel a lot more confident.
Yep. Exactly.
So I've got the option to switch my device, change it over to a different one 18 months into the flexi lease. So if I need more, more or less, whatever it is, I'm covered.
Exactly that.
Beautiful. So cool, easy. I mean, that should be all everyone needs. And you know, if you do need any more help with deciding how much RAM you might need, what kind of content you need, what you need in that MacBook, whatever device it is, people like Gav in our solutions team, we've got our account managers, everyone is here and is ready to help. So if you do have any questions, you can always put them on a comment under this post or send us an email, give us a call, whatever it might be. You might get lucky and get the main event Gav for himself.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, again, thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you all next time.